What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here is Legitico Response. We cover political news to keep you up to date and keep you informed with everything that the government does. Now, I know I told everybody I was going on vacation, and technically I'm on vacation. I haven't had to go to work, but I'm not there yet, y'all. We had our flight canceled. We were supposed to fly out from Lake Charles to go to Dallas, and then from Dallas straight on to Tampa, and we had some weather issues. And the flight got pushed back from 5 a.m. to 6 and then to 9 a.m. And then right before we was about to board, the flight from Dallas to Tampa got canceled. So it's like, what the hell are you going to do? There were no available flights for today. So I'm back here in the studio. But we will be going. We've got our flight scheduled for tomorrow. We're supposed to leave at the same early time. Hopefully we'll make it there one day to go have our little vacation that we're supposed to have. But until now, here's the news. All right, so we've been following the Trump hush money trial. And to be honest with you, to be frank, let me know how you feel down in the comment section. I'm getting freaking tired of talking about this thing. I wish they would hurry up and get this thing over with, but we have more news. This thing has been outright insane. Just all of the, from the testimony to the gag order and everything surrounding this trial has been absolute absurdity. CNN, for God's sakes, saying that, yeah, this ain't going nowhere, y'all.
Michael's getting at is the burden of proof is an important one to remind everyone. It's on the prosecution, right? They need to prove beyond reasonable doubt that that Donald Trump broke the law. And you think, after listening to all of this, you think they fell short. How?
They fell way short, because let's start with reasonable doubt. What is reasonable doubt? And it's not simply a doubt based upon reason. Anytime a human being needs to make an important decision in life, if you have enough information, for example, doctor says you need open heart surgery. Doc, go ahead and schedule. I don't have a reasonable doubt. Conversely, if I say, I appreciate it, but I need a second opinion, I need more information, that is having a reasonable doubt. There is reasonable doubt all over this case. Where is Keith Schiller? Where is Alan Weisselberg? How did Michael Cohen get away with stealing $30,000? Hold a pity party for him. Made $4 million on this. Thought he'd be chief of staff. He's a fixer. If the plumber comes to my house to fix my leak, I could be home. That doesn't mean I know how he's doing it and what it's taking to be fixed. Stormy Daniels, let's hold a pity party for her. Why do we need to know whether or not the former president wore a condom or not? It's simply about, did the former president know that books, his records, false entries, for legal fees, Michael Cohen was his lawyer. Did he intend to cover up the election or to protect his family? It's everywhere.
When Randy gets to whisper tones, I start getting concerned.
Now, he makes some really good points here. Now, to be trying to be unbiased in this thing, which is I'm going to attempt to be unbiased, there is a shit ton of reasonable doubt around this thing, right? Like, so Donald Trump's running this campaign, he's doing all this, he tells his lawyer to fix these issues, and then his lawyer goes and steals $30,000 from him, not to mention the other $30,000 that he got to reimburse him for having to pay taxes on that $30,000, which that doesn't make sense to me, but that's just facts that have come out in this case. But, you know, all of the BS testimony that we got to pack the jury full of knowledge about stuff that Trump did that's not illegal, right? And then once again, bringing it back to why would Michael Cohen falsify the business records to cover up something that's not a crime? That you can legally cover this thing up without falsifying business records. And plus, like I said, we knew about this. We knew about this before Donald Trump got elected. So once again, the fact that they're trying to elevate this crime from a misdemeanor to a felony due to the fact that it was election interference just makes absolutely no sense to me. But once again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an expert. I just read the news, right? And I see testimony like these people coming from CNN talking about there's so much reasonable doubt you could fill up a football stadium with reasonable doubt and still have room for more reasonable doubt. There's all kind of open questions in this thing. But once again, I really didn't want to cover this, but I saw this article come out and I'm like, yeah, let me go ahead and read this thing just to see what is what on this thing. And lo and behold, here we go. Some more insanity coming from Juan Merchan. Check this out, y'all. Jury in Donald Trump's hush money criminal case asks to rehear testimony. Now, that may seem like an innocuous headline, if you will. But from what I've learned about the corporate press, innocuous headlines can sometimes be weird. I'll put it that way. Check this out. The jury in former President Donald Trump's hush money trial sent its first note to the judge after less than 4 hours of deliberations. The panel had 4 requests, including wanting to rehear testimony about a 2015 Trump Tower meeting where a plan to squelch negative stories about Trump was discussed. Right? Once again, what does that have to do with anything? I have no idea. Now, before we go any further, I will say that I'm not reading out the entire story. There was a lot of stuff that we've already covered several times, like exactly what Trump did and blah, 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 blah. Just, I left out some BS, some kind of not very important information, if you will. So, let's keep going, though. To convict Trump, the jury will have to find unanimously that he created a fraudulent entry in his company's record or caused someone else to do so, and that he did so with the intent of committing or concealing another crime. That is the crux of this thing. They have to prove that, and they can't prove that because, once again, the reason for falsifying the business records was to cover up something that's not a crime. So why would you commit a crime to cover up something that's not a crime? That makes absolutely no sense. And I will once again remind everybody that this is well past the statute of limitations. And they're elevating a misdemeanor to a felony, trying to connect it to election interference, right? Once again, it's not election interference to quash bad stories about yourself during a political campaign. I mean, that's not a crime. If I am wrong, please let me know in the comments. The crime prosecutors say Trump committed or hid is a violation of New York election law, making it illegal for 2 or more conspirators to promote or prevent the election of any person to a public office by unlawful means. So, there we go. For me, not guilty. Outright. So then we go on to the jury instructions, and this is where it gets very interesting. Check this out. While the jury must unanimously agree that something unlawful was done to promote Trump's election campaign, they don't have to be unanimous on what that unlawful thing was. Huh? There's only one crime in this thing, falsifying business records. So what the hell is that supposed to mean? They don't have to be unanimous, just that he committed some crime? Well, he's not on trial for those crimes, so how the hell can he be convicted on something that he didn't do? This is insane. This is just outright insane. And the fact that Elise Stefanik filed those ethics complaints against Juan Merchan, once they hear about this is just blows my freaking mind. Once again, every time I've covered any of these stories about Trump, it's something that has blown my freaking mind. Because that is like basically the judge telling the jury that, look, you know this guy. You hate Donald Trump. You know he's a criminal, even though they can't make any of these crimes freaking stick. They haven't been able to do it yet, and for good reason. It's because he's probably not guilty of these crimes. The justice system is playing out like it's supposed to, but the judge is telling everybody, look, you know this guy. Please find him guilty. And we know this guy's conflicted. His daughter is raising money off of this trial. That's, once again, that there is enough for an ethics complaint, possible disbarment for Judge Merchan. But to tell the jury that you don't have to be unanimous on what the crime was, just find him guilty of something. That's what the judge is telling you. If that is not a highly conflict of interest in this thing, I don't know what is. Once again, I'm trying to not be biased here. That, to me, it's just insanity. And once again, if I'm wrong, if I'm looking too far into this, please let me know down in the comments section, because I sure would love to know. if I'm being blind to some fact here. Like, really? You don't have to be unanimous on what that crime was. But they're only charging him with falsifying business records, so what the hell is that supposed to mean? You don't have to be unanimous on what that crime was. Huh? God dang, man. This whole thing is just insanity, but let's keep going. The jurors, a diverse cross-section of Manhattan residents and professional backgrounds, often appeared riveted by testimony in the trial, including from Cohen and Daniels. Many took notes and watched intently as witnesses answered questions from Manhattan prosecutors and Trump's lawyers. Jurors started deliberating after a marathon of closing arguments in which a prosecutor spoke for more than 5 hours, underscoring the burden the district attorney's office faces in needing to establish Trump's guilt beyond reasonable doubt, which, in my opinion, they haven't done so. And obviously, in CNN's opinion, they haven't done so either. And CNN hates Donald Trump. Fareed Zakaria, for goodness sakes, said,
who believe that his prosecutors are politically motivated. This happens to be true, in my opinion. I doubt the New York indictment would have been brought against a defendant whose name was not Donald Trump.
Somebody who is very, very ardently against Donald Trump, speaking pretty much on his behalf by saying, yeah, they wouldn't charge anybody else with this. This wouldn't be a thing. And once again, to remind everybody, the FEC declined. They said there's no crime here. The DOJ looked into this. There's no crime here. Now, you might be thinking, oh, well, it was the DOJ under Donald Trump. Yeah, I don't buy into that, considering how the deep state was working against Donald Trump. I mean, we've had testimony come out. I say testimony. It was kind of testimony, if you will, that hidden camera video of that CIA agent talking about they intentionally withheld information from Donald Trump because it was Donald Trump. To say that it was Trump's DOJ that investigated, no, I'm sorry. I call BS on that. Merchan also instructed jurors on the concept of accessory liability, under which a defendant can be held criminally responsible for someone else's actions. That's a key component of the prosecution's theory of the case because while Trump signed off on some of the checks at issue, people working for his company processed Cohen's invoices and entered the transactions into the accounting system. And this is something that was put into place to be able to go after people that had their hands away from the dirty work, if you will. But once again, like that CNN analyst said, you could have a plumber come and do a bunch of work at your house, and you be at the house and not know that he done a whole bunch of illegal stuff. Are you really responsible for him committing those crimes? Considering the fact that Michael Cohen, his insane TikToks against Donald Trump. He stole money from Donald Trump, from the Trump organization. The fact that he's a convicted perjurer and done all this stuff, are we really supposed to believe? Are we really supposed to hold Donald Trump to account for something that Michael Cohen has admittedly done illegal? And once again, it ties back to, why do this if it's not illegal? Why commit a crime to cover up something that's not a crime? It makes absolutely no sense. In order to hold Trump liable for those actions, Merchan said jurors must find beyond a reasonable doubt that he solicited, requested, or commanded those people to engage in that conduct, that he acted intentionally. So basically now the judge, through those words, is saying that Trump is not guilty, because why would Trump tell Michael Cohen to falsify the business records to cover up a non-crime? I keep bringing it back to that because that's the most logical sticking point of this whole prosecution to me. It doesn't make any sense. It would be like getting a speeding ticket, right? Then going to court, even though you know and can prove you weren't speeding. Going to court and arguing that the radar that the cop used was faulty, didn't work. Like, why would you argue that if you have exonerating evidence, Bob Costello, that shows you didn't commit this crime? You weren't even speeding at all. Doesn't make any sense to me. But, that once again, like I said, I could be skewed. I don't know. I try to stay unbiased. I tell people all the time, Trump's not my favorite person. However, he is leagues better than Joe Biden. And I am behind Trump now because the corporate press has forced me to get behind Donald Trump on these matters because they're constantly lying. And the DOJ and this rigged court system is forcing me to get behind Trump because I can't stand to see somebody wrongfully accused of something else when they didn't do it. That pisses me off. Prosecutor Joshua Steinglass touched on accessory liability in his closing arguments Tuesday, telling jurors no one is saying the defendant actually got behind a computer and typed in the false vouchers or stamped the false invoices or printed false checks. False checks? No, they were real checks. What? False checks. What an idiot. But he set in motion a chain of events that led to the creation of the false business records, Steinglass said. So by that logic, should we hold Dr. Fauci guilty for causing COVID? Should we really do that? Genuine question for the comment section. Because, we funded the gain-of-function research that caused the COVID-19 pandemic. Any verdict must be unanimous during deliberations. 6 alternate jurors who also sat through every minute of the trial will be kept at the courthouse in a separate room in case they are needed to replace a juror who falls ill or otherwise is unavailable. If that happens, deliberations will start anew once the replacement juror is in place. Yeah, that was kind of irrelevant, but I gotta finish reading out the damn text, so whatever. But this is insane. The judge telling the jury that you don't have to agree on what the crime is, even though they're only charging him with one crime, 34 counts of one crime. You don't have to agree on that. Just find him guilty, please. This is just insane to me. And I hate to keep saying, oh, it's insane. But it really is insane. They're constantly trying to make these crimes stick to Donald Trump. And once again, Teflon Don, as people like to call him, is slipping right out of it because, when the criminal justice system works the way it's supposed to, innocent people will be found innocent. That's all there is to it. And I think that's all I got for this one, y'all. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think down in the comment section. Of course, I've already said that several times throughout the whole thing. And by the way, for anybody who's still around, let me know on a scale of 1 to 10 how much of an idiot I am. Just let me know. Just put that down in the comment section for me if you don't mind. And that's all I got for this one, y'all. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.